Hello. I wanted to talk about something I've been thinking about a lot lately, which is simple living. Because after a while of feeling in survival mode and just trying to be like, okay, I have to solve. And I'm house sitting, by the way, so you'll probably hear a dog barking, but it's okay. He's good. He just likes to talk sometimes. um, but sometimes instead of having this heavy pressure, or okay, so like I experienced it for the past, especially the past year or so, but going back further than that, I just have this constant sense of pressure, like, how do I get my life into a good place, because sometimes it's just not, you really are in that dire of situations, and some people live in dire situations for most of their life. They don't know anything different, and so they never question it, or they don't dare to dream, dare to wish for better for themselves, because I think they're just going to set themselves up for heartbreak, so they don't even want to try to lessen their pain or try to enjoy things more. And that's why addictions are so prevalent, because people aren't having their needs met, and instead of trying to figure out those needs are and get them met, they're settling for substances or other addictions. So anyway, basically I'm realizing this process of feeling, just having everything come together in my life and have everything make sense. This is a much longer process. It's like years. And even then, even when things do get better and stable for me, I have my finances taken care of, my health is a lot better, I have like a good healthy group of friends. Even when these things change, I'll still have other problems. I mean, I'm sure there will be easier problems that I'll have, but I'll still have problems. So in doing this, I'm trying to just think like, how do I have how do I simplify my life in the present to bring in more stability? Because I think that simplicity in life is really easy to overlook, especially when you're trying to find the secret or the shortcut or the solution. When you're really focused on this, at least in my experience, I am probably trying too much at two once, feeling like I gotta change everything all at once, feeling this huge pressure, so much dissatisfaction, so much, um, you know, and I think that simple living is something that makes it easier for me to feel good. It's gonna make it easier for me to feel good about my decisions in the present, so that I don't just see all the problems in my life and all the unsolved things, I want to well, basically I want to have the certainty. I feel like I have certainty now, that after I have been experimenting with different jobs and trying to be like, well, maybe I can solve my debt if I just, force myself to stay in a job I hate, like when I was in Amazon for 2 years, like that kind of thing. Maybe I can just force myself and make the money, and just like let the next 2 years just be focused on trying to survive, and it all that is just too much. So for myself, after trial and error, I realized like, okay, I finally have come to the conclusion that the sets of challenges present in continuing my dog care business and doing more with dog care and house sitting and being away from home and these kinds of things that I was feeling really overwhelmed by, the challenges that are present in this lifestyle, is worth it to me. Like, that's the best option I have now. And I think I can tend to be perfectionistic, I can tend to be perfectionistic, hard on myself, being like, why am I not further? It shouldn't be so hard for me. I should be able to figure this out, and acting like it is not I know logically that the forces in this world the systems and, just factors outside of our control. I know logically that it makes me who I am and it's shaped to me, and I am like who I am is not personal. Like a I am the end product, the result of many factors external to me. I'm kind of like the evidence that can't be swept under the rug. I know that, but emotionally, I still can take this sense of, shame and anger and feeling like what's wrong with me that I can't just get into a good life. A good life where I don't have debt, where I am, enjoying it, where I am able to have access to things that I don't even know about now. I just know that I'm missing something, but I don't know what the missing parts are, I'm watching a hummingbird over there. It's really cute. It's green and really tiny. That's an extra small hummingbird, actually. I feel like it might be a baby hummingbird or something. I'm not sure. I'm not used to seeing them like quite that small. Or maybe it's a tiny type. I don't really know what types are out here. Anyway, yeah, I've just been thinking lately how simple living, that involves committing to one lifestyle. Like for me, not always trying to change, not trying to be like, well, what if I can become this kind of person, which allows me to be eligible for these environments, and I'm able to earn more money, and then or what if I am able to force myself to stay in a job and earn money and then solve things that way. And that's part of the hard part, I think, of being able to see the positives and the potentials in things, is that you can be overly confident or unrealistic, I think, about what is actually compatible for you personally, like what is actually doable for you, what is actually sustainable for you. And then, I tend to put myself in these situations and then I lose my confidence because I'm not taking into account like my limitations and my wounds that I need to shelter so they can actually heal. I'm not taking into account my strengths and the things that make me happy. I'm like ignoring myself, and I'm on one hand, it's like on one hand I'm telling myself like, oh, I love you so much, like I'm your best friend and I'm here for you and I'm gonna get you in a good spot in life. And then on the other hand, I'm not taking into account the emotional feedback and the patterns over time. I'm just trying to be like, oh, I can become someone totally different. I can rewrite my entire past history that has shaped me into a certain way. So anyway, basically, yeah, simple living, I think it streamlines decision making. It saves so much energy. I think being able to commit to a lifestyle where the challenges in it feel worth it and the challenges feel manageable for yourself personally. And that is what, there's a lot of positives within house sitting and dog care, and there are downsides, but I think that just takes, and now that I realize in the past few months, now that I realize what things are, like, oh, I can't go into these other jobs I'm thinking about. Like, it's just not going to be sustainable. I'm going to be miserable. Maybe in theory, I could find like the perfect rare job, but I've never experienced that. And I think it would take a lot of luck and probably networking through friends who really know me and I really trust, and like those kind of social supports that I don't yet have in my life. I'd probably take that to find like in a standard employment that is sustainable for me. So anyway, yeah, I think that the beauty of living simply is you save a lot of energy and you feel less dejected or worried or having to use your emotional energy to tell yourself like it's okay. Like because you're not constantly changing things and taking huge risks. Like, it's a big thing to be changing jobs and totally changing your way of life. And yes, I've been used to chaos in my life and a lot of instability since I was young, like moving around with my parents. Then as I continued as an adult, still moving around myself, like I'm used to a lot of different things and instability. But I think I realized like how much stability I want to have, so I can just have access to different nervous system states and different opportunities of like, oh hey, I've been working with this client for a couple years. Like last night I was taking care of these two dogs, and I was like, oh my god, like I've known these people for over a year, and they used to have one dog, now they have two dogs. Like I've seen a whole other dog come into their family. The dog's a baby and she's growing. And for me, like, it sounds silly to other people, but for me it's kind of profound, in a way. Not profound, but it just makes me feel more human, I guess, because I'm used to not being in those type of family environments, I guess, just in the sense where I'm not used to like sticking around in one place for a long time and knowing people, and like even my relatives, like I haven't like stayed in contact with them much and don't really talk to them. I I don't really have that understanding in my mind of what that feels like to have. And that's something, of course, to grieve because of the ways of the world, but overall, primarily, I'm grateful to myself and thankful for all the forces that allowed me to be how I am, that I can be strong and not, you know, it's a sacrifice to not have that stability of knowing people for a long time, but it's also a blessing because it means I didn't get trapped into toxic circumstances that could have, you know, that I haven't had the strength to withstand, and I still don't have the strength to withstand. And I mean, there's some kinds of toxicity that just aren't compatible at all ever. Anyways, what's wrong, baby? Get your ball. Hey, buddy. Yeah. What's your ball? So, yeah, simple living. Let's see, I wrote down some things. I wrote down, oh, yeah, just the decision making part of committing to one lifestyle. Once you experiment and you're like, okay, this really is the best that I can have at this time in my life, and I have to not look down on myself for what is the best that I can have at this time in my life. I have to be like, basically not think of myself as having failed, and be like, no, given my specific circumstance, like maybe I'm a failure to other people, with like they would feel like a failure if they're in my situation, but I should feel like very successful in my situation given my all the specific inputs that have been in my life. And anyway, yeah, just being able to commit to something, to a lifestyle, I think that will be really helpful for me to heal faster and become somebody who can earn more money and have more clarity after a while. But I think for a while, maybe a whole year or more, I don't know, probably a whole year. I'm thinking for the whole time I'm 33, which is this like next birthday I'm gonna have this fall. Um, I'm thinking that's probably gonna be me just being really committed to my health. My health has to really improve, my cardiovascular health, my chronic pain that I get in my, bless me, in my neck, my digestive issues, like everything, like my tiredness, my fatigue, emotional pain, like all these things have to have more time to heal, and having a routine is really important, and having fun, and just having this really tight practice, well practiced relationship to myself, and being devoted to my wellness and making less money. That's gonna help me just have more of a clear identity and clear or greater capacities that will allow the next stages to unfold. And in the meantime, I don't want to put my life on hold. I think part of the reason why I have put this pressure on myself, like, oh, I got to change my life immediately, I got to get out of debt immediately, I have to it's mostly been about debt that I think about, and just loneliness in general. But I've been wanting it to happen so quickly because I feel like I have to put my life on hold until I am like eligible or worth, or I don't know. I don't really know what words to put it in, but and I have to be like, no, like I can start trying to enjoy life more, and the things I am able to enjoy, even if it seems kind of lame, like just taking a nap or sitting down and reading, like whatever I do, like I want to learn how to take really take pride in it, and be like, no, like this is fully what I am. I'm not gonna be taking, like, keep on internalizing this sense that like I am like broken, incapacitated, lazy, worthless, and all these kind of things that I have definitely internalized a lot. I don't want to put that on myself. And whatever I do, like I want to, yeah, just take pride in it, feel good about it, just remember what it feels like to feel safe internally, and so that I'm able to relate and support to people who I can understand best and who can understand me best, you know? And yeah, I think everything I wrote down I've already mentioned. I just wanted to remember a few of the specific ideas that I've been thinking about. But yeah, basically for me, I had to experiment a bunch over the past couple of years. Well, I first started dog care on Rover like I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, even something like that. And it was very casual, very, very part-time, like just like very occasional on top of when I worked for Amazon. And it, last September, for the past year and a half, I started doing more things with Rover. And then last September is when I like registered my actual business, my dog care business. And I just had to experiment with a lot of things still before I realized, like, okay, this is truly the best shot I have to commit to this, and just kind of understanding more like people live completely different lives from me, and just because I don't think it is, I didn't realize like how much of a value and how much people are dependent upon care for their dogs, and how important it is to people. I always thought that clients kind of had this idea towards me like I am a messed up bad person for choosing dog care, and I have to be feeling guilty about it, and like charge so little. And then I started charging more, and realizing like people still want to book me. There are good people who want to compensate people as like how as much as they're able to, or like a livable type of amount. There are people who can afford that. There are people who they need reliable, trustworthy support to have care for their dogs so they don't, so they can enjoy their quality of life more and not feel like they're stranded at home or their dog has to go be traumatized in some kennel. So, anyway, I had to experiment before I felt confident that I can commit to this way of life and it's going to give me a lot more opportunity to simplify things. And I'm feeling really a lot of beauty and encouragement in that idea, like just being able to not be scrambling, trying to change things or trying to strategize, or just being able to settle into one way of life and keep on figuring out, like, how do I be devoted to myself and how do I identify and meet my emotional needs and identify and manage my my emotions in a way that doesn't downplay or discount them, but also a way that doesn't make me get kind of trapped into fear or nervous system distress for long periods of time because I can't turn my brain off and I lose sight that, like, oh, I'm here just imagining, thinking about all these things, Anyway, it's a long-term process. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I hope that this is helpful in some kind of way. Okay, take care. Bye.